Welcome to Real Talk episode 29. I am Brian Rose and we're here at London Real Studios, but there's no guest because for the next 30 minutes, I'm answering your questions live on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. It's exciting stuff. I'm also live here on Facebook, so hit me up there with your questions. I think I got this on my Brian Rose account if you want to jump in there. It's been a pretty crazy week, and tonight we are giving the world premiere of one of our trailers with one of my favorite guys. We are calling this episode Superhuman, so more on that later. I'm also going to be announcing our new branding for the new Academy, and this is our new 4-week program that has a body and mind component and a create and connect component. A lot of you have already been going through this process and everyone is loving it. I did some big things today in my life, actually this week because of the program, so I'll be talking about that. But otherwise, I just wanted to touch base. We had the mayor of London here last week sitting in this seat, and it really made me think about what we're doing here at London Real, because all of this crazy stuff was happening in world politics. We had the entire country, the UK, leaving the European Union. We had Boris Johnson stepping down as a potential candidate for Prime Minister. We had Cameron resigning. Since then, we've also had other party candidates resign. And we're in the middle of this here at London, in London Real. And we were privileged enough to have the former mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, here to come on. And he really came in, and within hours of him coming here, Boris Johnson had basically resigned his candidacy for the Prime Minister. And he was the same guy that had beat Ken Livingstone for mayor of London. So it was like super timely. And we actually streamed the episode of London Real live for the very first time ever. And it was really incredible just for me to be caught up in all this British politics. And to be honest, I love politics, but I don't know all the nuances of like what makes a shadow cabinet and like how all those things are elected and decided. And I really had to get brushed up really fast so I could hang with someone like Ken Livingstone, who's been in politics for 50 years. I mean, he knew Margaret Thatcher. He knew everyone when it came down to all of the big players, Tony Blair, and he had opinions about all of them. So it was a real honor to have him in here. Also, to be honest with you, I had to be on point because Ken was called out in the last few months and was even sanctioned by his party for anti-Semitic comments. And you can't come in here on London Real and it's not all softballs. So I had to call him out on that and say, okay, what did you say? Why did you say it? What's going on with that? So like I had to be on point too, because it couldn't just be, you know, just a happy conversation. So a lot of pressure as usual around here, but I thought we delivered an incredible discussion with Ken Livingstone. He said it was his longest interview ever, and for a guy who's 71, that's impressive. He said the only other time he sat down for that period of time was, I think, in the 80s, where he did a 1-hour interview on television. And, you know, Ken was fascinating, and whether you're a liberal or a conservative, honestly, I don't think it mattered that day. If you watch us, you'll see two men having a conversation about life, and I really like Ken a lot. I really like him, and he really surprised me. And it's funny that he said something. He said, Brian, it turned out like the Mail Online, or the Daily Mail, and another newspaper kind of conspired against him with the Thatcher government in the early 80s. And they called him Red Ken, and they portrayed him to be this guy that was giving contraception to people and was promoting like gay rights and things that just you wouldn't do in the 80s. And they made him out to be this really bad guy. But he said, Brian, every time I went on a radio show or a television show, everyone loved me because they got to see who I really was. And it made me think that those were kind of the long-form content of their generations. And what he decided to do was just go on those type of media formats. And by the end of, I think, his first term, he was like rated, I think, the most liked politician in London, because people actually got to know who he was as opposed to how the media was portraying him. And in a weird way, I think 30 years later, we did the same thing on London Real, because you got to see who this guy was. And the comments we've had on YouTube and everyone coming back were, wow, I just never thought Ken was such an interesting guy, a reasonable guy, had worked so hard for the good of so many British citizens, regardless of his politics. And so it was really good. I really liked being around Ken, and yeah, he's just done so many things. You know, he got the Olympics in London. You know, little things that you just forget about, that he was a big player. And he told me how he got the Russians to vote for him. And we were up against Paris at the time, if you remember, back in '05. And the Parisians thought they had it locked in. And at the last minute, the Russians kind of sided with Ken and they got the vote. So it was a really powerful episode. And again, powerful for me too, because I had this media bias for Ken. I thought he was Red Ken and he was this crazy guy and he gets talked about as saying all these crazy things. But actually, I found him to be a really cool guy, an honest guy. He didn't care. We were rolling live. He's like, Brian, ask me anything you want. I always say, I'll answer any question anytime. So yeah, super impressed. So there you go. That was Ken. You can watch that episode right now on YouTube. We put it for immediate release. And the plan around here is that future London Real episodes will be live at the time. So be ready. Next week is packed. We have Professor David Nutt, the man who was sacked by the government of Britain because he came out saying that he thought alcohol and tobacco were more dangerous than drugs like ecstasy and heroin, and he had the science to prove it. And he has been one of the pioneers when it comes to research with psilocybin, LSD, MDMA, and other substances for greater human good. And him in combination with Amanda Fielding, who funds a lot of the research from the Beckley Foundation, have really done some amazing things, really cutting edge stuff that the whole world is watching. And we've been so fortunate to have them both on the show before. So Professor Nutt's coming back. We recently were at the unveiling of a bunch of research that they did with a study on LSD, and we were really happy to be there. And our old friends were there. We had Rupert Sheldrake in the house. We had Graham Hancock there. It was literally all the important people in the building we had as guests on London Real. So it's something we're very proud of here. We've always been very pro and optimistic about the powers of psychedelics on the show. And no matter how big we get, we're still feeling the same way about that. And I can't wait to sit down with Professor Nutt and talk about drug science, because that's really what he has to say. And he's fascinating the way he talks about how he believes that the way people look at science is almost the way that the church used to look at people with telescopes and people that challenged the views of the way astronomy looked to the church back in the 14 and 1500s. And I think he might have a very good point. So, Professor David Nutt, I believe that's on Thursday, I think. We'll be posting the schedules out there. We've also got Mr. Ryan Holiday back in the house. Ryan's incredible. At only 28 years old, I think he's already written 3 or 4 best-selling books. His latest is called Ego is the Enemy. And all the guys around here have been trying to get me to read that book. I don't know why. And they said, Brian, it's really going to change your outlook on life. So I'm pumped to have Ryan here. He is a Stoic, and he always writes things with the Stoic philosophy. And his previous book was called The Obstacle is the Way, which is what I always remind myself when I'm having a hard day here at London Real, that the obstacle is the way. And it's a great way of looking at life. And Ego is the Enemy is about Ryan's experiences over the last 18 months. In Peace was fighting on with James the Colossus Thompson, but our good friends Alex Reed and Michael Venom Page are going to be fighting on as well. So super excited for those guys to be representing London, the whole fight scene, and at the O2 Arena. So yeah, just some of the good stuff happening here. But tonight, what I wanted to do was give you a premiere of our latest episode, and that's with Mr. Ben Greenfield, superhuman. Ben has done so many things. He is an Ironman triathlete. He has his own, I call it a ranch, but he disagreed with me, his own compound in Washington State where he has an obstacle course. He is constantly biohacking himself, pushing the limits, really doing these really long races. He did something called the Toughest Mudder, which is a 24-hour long Tough Mudder race. He really is always going to the limits. So here's a sneak preview of that trailer with Ben Greenfield.
My why used to be I want to be the strongest version of me, right? Like I want to see how tough I can make myself so that I can survive. My why now is to inspire people to greatness. We don't really fight much anymore.
No.
We engage in hand-to-hand combat. Not many people run from wild animals or have to get down there in the blood and gut a wild animal after you kill it. Heck, a lot of people don't even garden and get their hands dirty, right? Failure happens, for sure. Yeah, sometimes it's because your why isn't strong enough. Sometimes it's because you give in to that primal instinct. Sometimes it's because you're underprepared. But yeah, it certainly is a reality. psilocybin on the beach, and I'm going through a massive rebranding of my business and what it is that I want to build, how many people that I want to inspire. And my intention was to ask myself if I really was ready to do that. And I just remember opening my arms and saying, I'm open to being big. I'm open to greatness. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and yet loses his soul? Right? So ultimately, when we talk about anything from physical to mental superiority, what things really come down to is what's inside you, your spirit, your soul.
The ultimate biohack, maximizing your soul. There he is, Ben Greenfield. We were having a pretty deep discussion there. At one point, I think he was actually sitting on this chair, but super excited. Ben just has so much going on, and he's really taken his whole company and his whole mindset really to a whole nother level now as he expands. So really happy having him here. Ben, about a year ago, took me kind of on a 6 a.m. Morning wake-up challenge, complete with power yoga and rhythmic breathing. It was like a precursor, I think, to some of the active meditation I do right now. So super excited for that. That episode drops on Sunday. Of course, if you're an Academy member, you can watch the whole thing now. If not, wait till Sunday, and it'll all be up there on YouTube, and then, of course, free on the Academy with social sign-in. I'm seeing a bunch of friends here on Facebook, so just hi to everybody, including my old buddy Kareem from the city. What's up, brother? How are you, man? How's the city treating you? I hope well. And of course, the love of my life is on there. The mother of my son, Caden. How you doing, babe? And Kimbo Slice joined us apparently, so I guess that's not him. So anyways, it's all good. You know, a lot of people have been asking me, Brian, what's going on with this new Academy? And a lot of you have been participating this week, and I just wanted to say a couple things about it. We are on the 3rd week of our beta run of the new Academy, and this is Dare Week. So this is about doing something that's out of your comfort zone, and it could be small or it could be big, and it's something that we've always really talked about here on London Real a lot. And so everyone's posting their videos on the Academy of what they're doing to get out of their comfort zone, and then everyone's also helping another Academy member do the same. So if someone's a little bit hesitant, then they're giving them a helping hand in doing that. And some of the things people are doing is doing a public speech, right? Very important. Reaching out for a mentor. And one of the things that I'm doing is something that I hate doing that makes me very uncomfortable, and that is I am asking for help. It's something I don't do very well. I'm always a I can do it myself person, and it served me really well in the past, definitely, but also it really holds me back a lot of times. And so what I am doing is I'm actually reaching out to former guests and asking if I can be on their shows just to talk more about what we're doing here on London Real. And so that's one of my comfort zone challenges. And I'm actually helping out someone right now with their own public speaking. And I've got people that want to do TED Talks. We already do a TED Talk course here on the Academy, but I'm just trying to give people some general advice as far as getting on that TED stage. I think it's super important. And a bunch of people from our Business Accelerator course are getting on this TED stage this year, thanks to my encouragement. So that's the plan, is to get people on stage. So what can you do to get out of your comfort zone? If you have an idea, then jump on the new Academy beta and post your video. Also, in addition to our 4-week cycle, which we call Create and Connect, and those are different ways to create something and connect with other members of the Academy, we have these 7-day body and mind challenges. We started off with the 7-day cold shower challenge. Now, it might sound small, but it's not. Getting under that cold tap is a little bit hard to do, but also it can be really relaxing. And you'll find that once you actually get under the shower, it's super empowering. And a lot of people have come away thinking, wow, actually this feels really good. And now what I do is I go into an ice cold plunge pool after I hit the sauna, and it's just like waking up. It's like a workout and a meditation session all combined in one. And so we literally have videos of all the Academy members in their showers in various forms of dress. One girl did audio only because she was shy, and that's okay. Zoe. But they're a lot of fun, so jump in there. We have these 7-day challenges just to see if some of these habits might work really well in your life. And some people go on to do cold showers all the time, and I think they're a great component. Also, if you're ever in a place where there's no hot water, then I'm like, oh, I'm Wim Hof today. Let's do it. So it feels really good. And that's been inspired by Wim Hof, the Iceman, one of our guests here. So each one of our body and mind challenges is inspired by a guest. This week is the affirmation challenge. So actually, sorry, last week was the affirmation challenge. And that is you pick 3 affirmations that you say out loud. I say about 14 out loud every day. And funny enough, I actually got this challenge from the old man himself. That's Dan Pena, the $50 billion man. Of all people to be at the least new age possible, it's Dan Pena. And when I was up at his castle in Scotland, he said, I do an affirmation for every one of my goals. And that's what I do. And he has like 21 of them. And so when I got back, I started saying these affirmations out loud. And of course, I decided to take it to the next level. So what I do is I say them out loud while I walk down the street on my way to the tube in the morning. And whoever I walk by, I just say it even louder. And it gets me just to kind of say them over and over again. And we've had guests in here like Mimi Icon, and I'm telling you, these things work. If you actually talk about events as if they've already happened, then these things really do happen. And again, it's talking about a future event that hasn't happened yet. And to be honest, before Caden was born and we were trying, one of my affirmations was, I'm excited to be the parent of a brand new baby, or Mariana excited to be pregnant with a brand new baby. And I said that damn thing for like 15 months until Homeboy decided to show up. So this stuff works, right? That's proof. And I still say them. I talk about goals I have for the Academy, for myself, for my family, and the stuff really works. So that was the affirmation challenge. This week is the vulnerability challenge. So I'm asking people to reach out to 3 people in your life and be vulnerable with them. And that means you might want to thank someone that you just don't thank normally. Maybe it's a partner or a loved one that you just never say, you know what, I really appreciate you being in my life. I know I don't get to tell you, but I really want to tell you that. Or maybe it's praising someone that you're usually hard on if you're a parent. And this week I'm reaching out to a friend who I don't think is actually putting in the time that I deserve as a friend. And so, yes, even I deal with these things. And I'm just saying, you know what, unless we can have some more FaceTime, I'm going to have to kind of move on in my life. And I think you got to do that sometimes. So that's the vulnerability challenge. If you're on the Academy, jump on those right now. It's on the new Academy on the top nav bar. And we put together a little bit of an inspirational video that you'll be seeing more often when we launch the full new Academy for everybody in the next few weeks. And the guys in the video department, Luis and Danny, have been working hard on this. Here's a little sneak peek of what we're doing. Right? How cool is that? Anyways, that's some of the good stuff that's coming up. We announced this at our last Super Focus group that we were going to do this new 4-week cycle for the new Academy. And this was after 6 months of feedback that we had from all of our Academy members. And they just wanted something that was really structured. And we knew we had to have it. And this is the solution. Super excited about that. And we're actually going to be announcing the very beginning of the first open cycle for the new Academy at our next Super Focus group, which is July 29th here in London. And our special guest is, have we announced this yet? I don't think we announced it, have we? Phil McKernan is back in London, and I'm going to be interviewing him live on stage at our next Super Focus group in London. We should have about 100 London Reelers there. It's going to be awesome. So get your tickets now. Go on the Academy. There'll be a link below, and as our tech fails, there'll be a link below. You can go ahead and grab a ticket. It's going to be an amazing night. Phil is incredible. We actually had an event here with him in the studio, and it was really amazing. And so definitely check that out. I can't wait. Phil's got such great energy, and I just love having him around all the time. And we'll be talking more about the new academy there. So that's the stuff that's happening there. I would love to answer some of your questions. I know people on Facebook are like, are you shooting another video? Yes, we are shooting this for YouTube. We have it in high def with our fancy new cameras, and this is what we're doing every week, answering questions for everyone. So let me get to your questions here and see what people are saying. Sounds like people are asking a little bit about Ryan Holiday and what's coming up next, and what's going on with the stick. First of all, the stick, by the way, people always wonder what's going on with the stick. I had this stick with me at our summit meeting in March. I had it with me at the Super Focus Group, and I know it just looks like a broomstick. But for us, it's more important than a broomstick, because this is the stick that we use to film our moving conversation with Ido Portal here in London that seemed like ages ago, Luis, but it was 8 months ago, right? And it's amazing how time flies around here, but this stick was the one that Ido used because he's a big fan that using sticks to just see what our body feels like, because the body will give before the stick does, but it's straight and it's a great instrument that you can use. So we always have it around here. And if you come to the focus groups, I give you the stick when you're on stage, and you get to stand up with the stick. And anybody who's been here at the focus group here, we've had hundreds of people in the studio. Well, we have hundreds more at our next one, or 100 more. You get the stick, and it's really empowering to have the stick. And there's something about it that just gives you, I don't know, some power, because at the focus groups, we ask people to get on stage and talk about, like, what's your challenge? What's your goal for the next 6 months? Why did you join London Real? And I'm telling you, in the last focus group, we had these 10 people get up, and I'm telling you, the audience must have thought it was scripted or something, right, Luis? Because, like, these people were, like, making major changes in their life. They were like, okay, today I quit my job, and I'm now starting my own business, and I'm going to travel the world. And we have one guy who I met at the Startup Grind Europe tech conference where I was interviewing the CEO of Metrobank, and I met him there, and he showed up, and he was like, Brian, I used to work in the city, and when I left the city, I burned all my suits. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I burned it, and he's like, I burned them all, and pieces of, like, burned wool started flowing around the neighborhood, and, like, the police were called, and the fire department was called. I mean, it was real talk. So I don't know, really inspiring stuff, having everybody there. So it was all good stuff. So that's coming up. Again, Phil McKernan really was one of our most powerful episodes here. People really say that affected them. And the great thing I like about Phil is the first time I met Phil was in California, and I was with a group of like 120 really accomplished entrepreneurs, and the icons were there, and a bunch of former guests were there. Esther Perel was there, Joe DeSeno was there, and he said, what is your relationship with money? And the whole crowd just went completely dead silent. And he went on to, like, really break down a bunch of people and find out what their relationship was with money and why they did what they did. And so it was a really powerful way to really connect with people and find out, you know, what was really going on and what was the core. And it's something we talk a lot about on our classes and a lot on our calls. And so, you know, that's super excited. So I'm super excited to have Phil. Again, I'll answer a couple more questions here on Facebook, and I'll wrap this up. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been on our Business Accelerator program. We got our last call on Sunday. We spent the last 8 weeks together, and they get they have to listen to me for 2 hours every week on our live calls every Sunday and every Tuesday. And we've had an incredible group of people. We had a Wall Street banker from New York. We had a solicitor here in London. We had a former NHS doctor. We had a movement specialist, one of Ido Portal's students in Hong Kong. We had another movement specialist in Vancouver. We had one of our former graduates in California, former Marine. Just an amazing group of people, and just to see the progress they made, they're so fired up. They're filming videos, they're broadcasting content, they have websites with landing pages, email autoresponders, they've made their social media complete, pimped out, they've got customers, they're designing core products, product ecosystems, they're reaching out to people in their network, and they're working on their funnels, and I'm just so proud of all the work they've done. It's really hard. It's more like a life accelerator course, because we really ask people to really get out of their comfort zone and really call themselves on their own kind of BS. So just wanted to say thanks to everybody doing that stuff. And again, just want to also say thanks to all the support we get, all the questions we're getting for all the guests here, and just all the comments on Twitter, on YouTube, and all of that good stuff. People asked me recently, who is your ideal guest for London Real? And I think I'll just finish up on this. People all ask me all the time, like, who's the person you really want to have on the show? And I always say, it's really not the person who's accomplished so many things in life, because I think that's important, but we're always looking for that person that's actually been knocked down and that's had like a real failure and that had to really look into the abyss and into the darkness and find what their character's all about and get back up and go out there and redo things and relearn things and really come back. And that all comes down to this whole concept that we call the hero's journey here at London Real, and it's something that we're constantly talking about. And it was in my TED Talk. It's something that the writer Joseph Campbell talked about. And I think everyone should think about their hero's journey, and I'll leave you on this. And it's really a narrative that you tell people and tell yourself that you really, a story of your life. And one of the classic hero's journeys that I always teach people on the courses is that of Star Wars and Luke Skywalker. And you start off kind of at a current state and you don't know what you want to do, and you have a life event that causes you to kind of go dark and go deep and look within yourselves and to battle people and to battle yourself, and you come back with kind of a victory of something you learned, and you come back to the rest of the world and you teach them about some new knowledge and a new way of life that you now have experience with. And I think we all have that hero's journey with them. And I talked about this on the Tuesday live call with all the Academy members. And I think we all need to construct our own hero's journey for a lot of reasons. One, because I think it's a great way to introduce yourself to other people. I think it's important for a business, but also I think it's important that you tell yourself a hero's journey. You should be telling yourself great stories about yourself. And so it's something really to think about. And so I'll be looking through the videos that were posted yesterday on the Academy, because people have been uploading their hero's journeys and giving you some feedback. And just something to leave you with. It's something we use, that technique, on our TED Talk course, on our Business Accelerator course. And it's something that we do in every episode of London Real. I'm actually trying to tell someone's hero's journey. We do it on our tech shows as well. And I think it's something, I think it's an art that we all need to get comfortable with, just having that version of who your hero is, and hopefully that's you. So I'm going to leave on that thought today, and I want to also leave you with a quick video that, again, the video department's been working on, and it really gives you a feel for really the new London Real and just everything that we've been doing the last 4 to 5 to 6 months. We've had these incredible live events. We've had incredible people here in studio. We're doing these amazing things out and about. And it's just a lot more than two people sitting down having a discussion here in the studio. It's about people connecting. It's about courses. It's about people becoming better versions of themselves, connecting with peers, upgrading peer groups, public speaking, building businesses, everything. So here's something that the boys have cooked up for you. Okay, that pretty much wraps it up for Real Talk episode 29. Thanks for tuning in on across all the platforms. I love it. Tune in next week for our live episodes. Ryan Holiday, Professor David Nutt, possibly Scott Coker from Bellator. Super excited to have him there. Of course, you can watch all of our episodes free on LondonRealAcademy.com. Sign in with your social media for free, and you can watch those episodes. You can now go straight to the episode you want to see and just sign in right there on the page. If you love this video or love anything we do, please hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, and yeah, tell your friends, forward an episode that you really like. It's all pretty much word of mouth how we do things around here. Until then, it's about the journey. Do something today that scares you. Dare yourself to be a little bit better. It all adds up to be cumulatively something that you're super proud of. So we'll see you next time on Real Talk.